A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. We appreciate your time. We will be starting this webinar in exactly 1 minute as we're just waiting for a few more people to join in. Thank you. Once again, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the Korea Premium Travel Consultant webinar, which is organized by the Korea Tourism Organization. Uh, in the year 2021, Korea Tourism Organization has wanted to assist and train a select group of travel agents from all over India and certify them as the Korea Premium Travel Consultant for the year 2021-22. Korea Tourism Organization has collaborated with Travel Biz Monitor in India to be the knowledge and technology partner to execute this All India exercise. Before I introduce you to the presenters for today, just a few housekeeping notes for all of you who have joined in as attendees. Please note that all the attendee mics are on mute mode and the webcam is turned off by default. If by any technical glitch your webcam is turned on, please turn off the same immediately and log out of the system and simply restart your browser. Those of you who are attending this webinar using their mobile phones, please use the same in landscape mode for a better viewing experience. If you experience any issue at any time, like mixing of audio or lag, please check your internet connection and refresh the browser. Most problems get resolved by simply refreshing your page or your browser. If the issue still persists, try logging out of the system and restarting your browser. If you're experiencing low internet speed when any video is played, you might get a pop-up saying click for audio. Simply click on that and everything will be restored. In case you have any queries during the presentation, please feel free to type your queries in the Q&A tab, which is opened up on the top right-hand corner of the screen inside the webinar's control panel. This control panel can be minimized or maximized for best viewing experience. We will answer as many questions as possible in the Q&A tab and also during the Q&A session after the presentation is over. I would now like to introduce our panelists and our presenters for today. We first have Mr. Young-Gul Choi. He's the Director, Korea Tourism Organization, New Delhi office. Welcome, Mr. Choi. And we also have Mr. Sandeep Datta. He's the Marketing Manager, Korea Tourism Office, New Delhi. I'd like to welcome Sandeep Datta as well. If I can have both of you all now switch on your mics and cameras. And Sandeep, over to you to introduce Mr. Choi.
Okay. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. It is a different kind of a webinar, I can assure you that. Sheldon has already given you some inputs on that. Before we begin, I would like to invite our director, Mr. Young-Gul Choi, to just come in and give us the opening remarks and set the tone for the webinar. Mr. Choi, if we can have you on the screen now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, are you sure you are listening to me? Yeah, good
Yes.
afternoon. Yeah. Welcome to the launch of Korea Premium Travel Consultants. So I'm so pleased to see so many people participating for our program today. You all must have attended many online destination presentation this year, but let me assure you, this webinar is going to be different. This is not only a simple South Korea destination update presentation, but the start of a long-term certification program by which you all can become Korea Premium Travel Consultants. As the COVID situation is getting better globally, countries are now starting to open up to international tourism, and I strongly believe that by the end of this year, there will be a huge demand for outbound travel in India as well. However, the situation will not be the same as before. Our customers will become more particular in choosing a destination of the type of outbound travel they want to do. We feel that our customers' demands and preference will change completely due to the COVID pandemic. Hence, as a travel industry representatives, we need to upgrade our knowledge and need to have in-depth and the latest information for destinations. That is where our Korea Premium Travel Consultant program comes into play. As my marketing manager Sandeep will explain in detail during the presentation, this program has been developed in a way that everyone who is most interested in promotion South Korea to their customers in the future will get focused assistance from KTO in the future. The more actively you participate, the more you will have a chance to qualify for the future events and win exciting prizes. There are several other benefits of becoming a Korea Premium Travel Consultant, which you will get to know by end of our upcoming presentation. At KTO, we are closely monitoring the COVID situation. After a difficult time a few months ago, India's COVID situation is now getting better. I'm also very impressed with the speed of vaccination in the country. In Korea also, we experienced a wave of infections, but the situation is under control now. If all was well in the future, travel between Korea and India may soon become possible again. I also hope for the best. And with that, I would like to conclude my remarks and wish you all have a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Choi, for those remarks. I think everybody. We don't want to keep everybody now more waiting. We have almost 200 people who are waiting in patiently to start the program. So, without further ado, let's begin with the presentation that we have planned for you today. I'll just take you quickly through the table of contents. What we are doing is I will try to explain what is Korea Premium Travel Consultant Program in a detailed way. What are the advantages of you becoming a Korea Premium Travel Consultant in the coming time? Then we will briefly touch upon the COVID situation in South Korea and the tourism forecast for South Korea for 21-22 based on the information that we have today as of now, and then go into detail on the destination presentation, which will be like a refresher course on South Korea for people who know South Korea from past, and like a completely new presentation for people who are joining in for South Korea update for the first time. Past that, there is a huge demand from a lot of travel companies. They are always asking us from some resources and some links that are helpful in updating the knowledge about South Korea. We'll share those details and share those resources exclusively with the webinar participants today here. Then we'll introduce the what is the KPTC challenge that we have. Uh, uh, we want this program to be a two-way process, not only a one-way presentation from our side. So post this presentation, we will ask you to do something which will enable you to qualify for the next round of KPTC program. And then we will happily take as many questions as possible from you and try to answer you. So, what is our Korea Premium Travel Consultant program? To make it very short, it is a formal accreditation program by KTO. Korea Premium, we consider a Korea Premium Travel Consultant as a person who is highly specialized with travel advisor, who is skilled with South Korea destination knowledge, and is able to handle diverse requests of their customers, be it, FIT, GIT, special interest, or MICE. So all aspects of South Korea travel will be covered in this program, and whoever becomes a KPTC consultant in the end is a complete destination expert, certified destination expert. So how does it work? Quite a few steps here. We are in step 2 today. So the step 1 was the invitation that you received and you gladly registered. Today is the step 2 where we have the introduction and destination training. This will be followed by a KPTC challenge, task and challenge, which will be evaluated by our end, and then we will give Korea Premium Travel Consultant accreditation to the best performing people, as many as possible. And those people who get accredited or will become the KPTC Korea Premium Travel Consultants for 21-22, and they will have a series of advanced learning training programs and activities, which will also include multiple gratification and prizes. Now, why should you spend your time and spend your energy to become a Korea Premium Travel Consultant? Of course, destination knowledge is one thing that you will definitely gain, but apart from that, there are several other advantages of being a KPTC member. The basics being you will get regular destination updates and trainings, which will be exclusively for KPTC members and not for all travel agencies. You will have direct access and direct assistance from KTO for any customer inquiry that you're working on. You will be getting opportunity to participate at various South Korea fam trip organized by KTO. You will also be eligible for getting joint marketing support for South Korea tour packages when travel begins and you want to promote the South Korea as a destination. Then, if you or your company has an employee who is accredited with KPTC membership, then that gets you additional benefits. And as a part of this program, we will come up with different kind of sales activities and incentives and prizes, which will keep you motivated to sell South Korea to your customers. This is a very, very common question that people ask us, that what is the current COVID situation that is in South Korea. So let me just briefly begin from the start. Basically, when right from the beginning, from when the COVID situation has started, South Korea has been one of the best countries in the world in handling the situation. In this whole 2 years, the total number of cases in the whole country is just over 200,000 or 2 lakhs, which is very, very marginal if you compare it with the population and the number of days. South Korea was the first country which pioneered the drive-in self COVID-19 testing way back in March 2020, which was then adopted by other countries. And it is the only large economy country which has not had even a single lockdown since the COVID pandemic began, and has been able to manage the entire situation without putting everything on hold. So that's pretty credible, and we take great pride in showcasing that to the world. South Korea has experienced three waves of infections in the past, but they have not crossed the maximum cases of 1,000 per day. So they have been very, very mild and have been always managed in time. Currently, South Korea is going through a fourth wave, which has around an average cases of 1,500 per day per week. Sorry, per week, and this is also under control now. So, all relaxations are coming out. As the most of the public activities in the country are all open. There are moderate restrictions in some areas like Seoul and the nearby Seoul area, and wearing of masks in public places. And the vaccination is also going very well, with almost 40% of the population already receiving their first dose. And South Korea plans to fully vaccinate their adult population uh, within this year. So by this year, South Korea will be fully vaccinated and ready for tourism. In fact, when we see a look at the tourism forecast, South Korea has already opened its borders for inbound tourism from last month. Fully vaccinated tourists can visit South Korea without quarantine. And currently, South Korea has recognized the WHO approved vaccine Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, and AstraZeneca. Currently, the travel between India and South Korea is restricted. We're waiting for it to open as soon as possible. The India-made vaccines, Covishield, Covaxin, are also in the process of being approved. They're not approved yet, but will be done soon. And if the situation between the two countries does not deteriorate or the situation is getting better, then uh, resumption of travel between India and South Korea in 2021 is possible. But for KTO, for us, we are completely focusing on next year, March, April 2022, for tourism revival between India and South Korea. So that is the backdrop of uh, the situation as of now. Now we will start with the destination presentation and destination update. So South Korea in 2021. We'll start off with some of the basics, which is where is South Korea located. If you look at the global map, located right between China and Japan side, sandwiched in the east part of the global map. Korea is just the size of Madhya Pradesh. It's almost 31 times smaller than India. So traveling in the entire country takes not more than 7 to 8 days in a typical itinerary that we have in India. And South Korea is basically a peninsula with three side water and one side of land, but you can consider it like a island because the northern part of the Korean peninsula is North Korea, which is a landlocked country with no access to South Korea. So the only way you can travel to South Korea is basically by flight or by ship or cruise. But since it's too far, it's a long haul destination, so only flight is a possible mode of connectivity for India. Just like India, we have all the four seasons in South Korea, but the timings are a little different. If you see from March to May, there is the spring season, which is the cherry blossom season. Temperatures are very pleasant and a little bit cool with 10 to 15 degrees temperature. The summers are currently we're in the middle of summer, so summers will be from June to August. Summers are around 30 degrees, but moderately pleasant, very pleasant compared to the Indian summers. Autumn is from September to November. Again, autumn leaves very colorful, very bright, and very good temperature and climate. And if you are particularly interested in winter and snow, then December to February, you can experience snow almost all over the country and extreme cold also. Couple of cultural aspects of Korea that you will get to see everywhere, and we try to highlight and promote to all the in our tourism is first is the Korean traditional houses, which are called hanok. As you can see from the picture, they are traditional houses made of brick and wood and mud. And you can actually book this kind of accommodation for your customers. They are not expensive. They're around $30 to $40 or $50 per night for a one night stay, and definitely a unique experience while they're staying in Korea. Next cultural aspect is the hanbok, which is a Korean traditional costume or dress. An interesting way of promoting the Korean traditional dress is that whenever you travel to any particular national monument in the country, if you wear the Korean costume or the Korean dress, then you do not have to pay for the monument entrance tickets. Now that becomes very helpful as a cost-saving measure and also as enhancing the experience of your customer. So make sure you remember that. Traditional food, Korean food, it's called hansik, and it's very getting very popular nowadays in India due to the rising popularity of K-pop and Korean drama and Korean music. And it is very palatable to Indian taste palates also, because Korean food is mostly very fried and spicy. So it's Indian people would really enjoy that. There's a lot of vegetarian options also available. If somebody is looking for only Indian experiences or Indian friendly food, then South Korea has more than 100 Indian restaurants or Indian friendly restaurants all over the country. And we've got a restaurant book that you can download and refer to if you're making a tour program for your customer. This is a study that was done, which will give you a little bit of insight of what is the type of traveler who travels to South Korea. So this was done. This was a global survey pre-COVID, and from this you can see that the basic main purpose of visit for South Korea, people visiting South Korea, is vacation or leisure, and they mostly travel with their families or relative. And the main thing that they do there is shopping. So, vacation, family, shopping. If you combine these three things, you are looking at a perfect Indian traveler, which means that South Korea is a perfect destination for an Indian traveler. And I believe that you will be convinced by the time we are finished with this presentation that that is the case. So, South Korea, even though it's a small country, has got a lot of airports, almost 15 airports all over the country. For us as Indian travelers or Indian travel agents, we have to focus on three main airports, which are the Incheon International Airport, the main airport in near the Seoul city, the Gimhae International Airport in Busan city, which is the second largest city in the southern part of the country, and Jeju International Airport located in Jeju Island, which is in the southern part of the mainland of South Korea. This is pre-COVID information, but pre-COVID, we had direct flight connectivities by Korean Air and Air India from Delhi and Mumbai, and there was one-stop via flight connectivities from all the metro cities via Cathay, Singapore Airlines, Malaysian Airlines, Thai Airways, and other connections. Uh, we hope that the flights resume soon, and we will have as many connections as possible in the future as well. If you look at the destination and the places to visit in South Korea, there are few places which are the main destinations, which are part of all you itineraries and are very helpful for you to focus on South Korea as a first-time travel destination. And there are some destinations which are called secondary destinations, which are not so popular in India, but every now and then you will have that one special client who is very well traveled and who wants to go beyond the regular itinerary. For them, the secondary destinations offer some unique experiences, which I will touch upon, which will add flavor to your basic destination itinerary and program. So let's begin with that. We start with Seoul, which is the capital city. If you see the map, it's located in the top northwest part of the country. It is the main point of arrival from almost 90% of all flights from India. And it is a traveler's delight, having all options of sightseeing, tourism, and attraction. There are one of the few best ways to experience the city is taking a city tour bus, which has different courses available. Even a night tour is available for customers arriving in the evening. You can give them a night tour before dinner so that they can have a glimpse of the city, so that the first day is not completely wasted. And there are different courses that you can choose from. You can book them through your DMC, or you can book them online as well. When you look at attractions, South Korea in Seoul City, there are different kind of attractions all over the city. There are markets, there are palaces, there are skyscraper towers, there are heritage city walls, there are nightlife areas, there are public, there's a stream running through the middle of the city, and there's a lot of historical aspects also. Seoul City has a history of more than 5,000 years and has a lot of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Few of the important ones are the Seoul City Wall, which surrounded the main city, the old city in the ancient times. The Cheongnagung Palace, which is regarded as one of the most beautiful palaces in East Asia. Then you have royal tombs from 2000 years of history, and they have shrines from the Joseon dynasty and Buddhism almost 2000 to 3000 years old. That is the traditional aspect. You can combine it with the modern aspect where you can visit the Ensol Tower or Lotte World Tower, which is the fifth largest tower in the world, longest tower in the world, and has a glass bottom observatory at the 123rd floor, from where you can step on glass and walk in the sky at 550 feet in the air, which is pretty fascinating. If you are a K-pop fan or a Korean drama fan, or your customer is a fan of K-pop and Korean drama, then you can definitely take them to SM Town and Gangnam Star K-Star Road, which is the hub of K-pop in Korea, Korean drama in South Korea. Evenings you can do evening river cruises or enjoy a palace tour also. Then you see Busan. Busan is the second largest city of South Korea. It is famous for its industries, and if you see the map, it is located way down in the south, around 2 hours by bullet train from from Seoul, capital city. Busan is not so big as a city when it comes to size as compared to Seoul. So 1 to 2 days is actually quite enough to see the main sites. There are few very important locations which are part of every main itinerary, which include the Haeundae Beach, which is the #1 beach in South Korea, or the Bondi Beach of South Korea, Dongbek Island, Dalmaji Road, Gwangali Bridge. Bomyosa Temple is one of the most beautiful Buddhist temples in East Asia. It's located in the coast of Busan, with one side ocean and one side mountain. In the bottom, you can see Gamcheon Cultural Village. This is a very interesting place because it is regarded as the Santorini of the East. It is a cluster of colorful houses on the coast side with ocean on one side and mountain on the back. It has its own history, unique history from the Korean War time. And this place is a great place to enjoy, some cultural promotions and enjoy a cup of coffee at one of the fantastic cafes, and a very photographic, photogenic, and Instagram friendly location for taking photographs. Busan is also very popular for one aspect, which is industrial tours. This is especially popular for special interest group tours or industry visit tours or MICE groups. So 1 hour from Busan is Ulsan city, which is the industrial capital of South Korea, where you have all the biggest factories of the country, starting from Hyundai Motor Plant, which is the world's largest car manufacturing facility. Then you have Hyundai Heavy Industries, where you have the world's largest shipbuilding facility. Apart from that, you have the dockyard, you have petrochemicals, you have the port, you have other factories and setups and industries from Samsung, Hyundai, and LG also. So if you are a special interest customer and you want to do industry visits or visit a factory or something like that, or industrial tour, then Busan should be a focus of your itinerary. And from there, you can do a 1 day or a 2 day program to Ulsan. And our office KTO can help you arrange the factory visits, and your DMC can help you arrange the logistics. No problem. Next, we have Jeju Island, which is perhaps one of the most popular attractions for a lot of customers and travel agents here who are especially doing FIT and honeymoon travel. Jeju Island, if you see from the map, is located south of the mainland. It's a big island, so if you compare it, if you want to get a comparison, it is almost twice the size of Singapore in size. So it's a big island, and the edges of the island, the edge of the island, you have volcano. In the center of the island, you have volcano, which are the centerpiece of tourism attractions in the island. Apart from that, Jeju Island is actually a complete contrast to everything that you see in South Korea in general. So if you go to Seoul or Busan, you will see a lot of new technology, skyscrapers, and modern attractions. But when you come to Jeju Island, it is a complete contrast. It's all about natural beauty and greenery and fresh air and fresh wind. Jeju is very well connected internationally with international airport, and it has direct flight connectivity with Hong Kong, Tokyo, and down south in the Southeast Asia also. Even though there is no direct flight from Delhi from India, but one stop via flight, you can arrive directly in Jeju Island and enjoy the island in its own without touching the mainland. As I said, Jeju is all about natural attractions. So you can see maritime park, you can see volcanoes, you can see beaches, you can see lava tubes or caves. These caves were, you know, naturally built during the prehistoric time, during with the lava explosions, when the lava used to flow and they passed on through the caves to the ocean. These caves have their own, inhabitants and their own kind of, life inside. These caves are, you know, uh, part of them are open for research and part of them are open for tourism. For example, the Minjongul cave on the right, top right, this is one of the longest lava tubes in the world, almost 13 kilometers long. Uh, the first 1 kilometer is open for public for them to go inside and see a lava tube and see the kind of habitation that is inside. Apart from that, you have estuaries, waterfalls, and other things completely on natural aspects. There are man-made attractions also, quite a few of them, in fact. Some of the popular ones are the Tea Museum, the Teddy Bear Museum, which has the world's smallest and the world's largest teddy bears. Then you have different kind of other experiences like water park or lifestyle museum. One of the most popular attractions is Songup Folk Village, which is uh, uh, a folk village which is showcasing the life of Jeju Island from hundreds of years old. So this place is where you can learn about Jeju culture. You can see cultural performances. You can try local cuisine, and you can take part in different kind of activities. So it's sightseeing, activities, performance, and food all together at one place. So half a day at the folk village can give you a complete understanding of of the island and the life of people, and also see different kind of new sites and attractions. I cannot emphasize enough how popular Jeju is because of its natural beauty. And it is also the only place in the world which has UNESCO Triple Crown, which is basically UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, UNESCO World Natural Heritage, and UNESCO World Geological Park. So the only place in the world which has all the three accreditations to its name, making it a truly unique and a memorable place to visit. One of the favorite experiences or most popular experiences that you can offer to your customer is the Udo submarine tour, which is one of the deepest tourist submarines in the world. Takes you right to the bedrock of the ocean. You basically have to take a boat, go to the middle of the ocean, and then take the submarine, go underground, come back up. The whole process is just 2.5 or 3 hours long, and the price is actually quite nominal, around $50 for one person for this kind of experience is actually quite worth it. Now we come at the last main attraction or place that we promote in India, which is Gyeonggi-do. Don't be confused by the name, but you have to see the map to understand better. So if you see the map, the white portion in the middle was Seoul City, which we have already covered in the beginning. Gyeonggi-do is basically everything that surrounds the Seoul area, the Seoul city. So everything that surrounds Seoul is part of Gyeonggi region. Visiting this, some of the places here does not require you to stay a night in Gyeonggi. You can stay in Seoul and then do half day or full day excursion to any of the places in Gyeonggi. Everything is within drivable distance of 1 to 2 hours. There are a couple of sites in Gyeonggi which are in fact one of the few of the most popular attractions in the country. If you see, there are quite a few attractions that you can do here. You have the theme park, you have fortress, you have folk village, you have art village, you have snow park, a lot of attractions. But one of the most popular attractions for Indian customers, especially for BICE and family groups or family tourists, is the Everland theme park. This is the largest theme park in South Korea, and it is in fact 4 times the size of the Disneyland in Hong Kong. It is huge. You cannot finish the theme park in one day, and the price is also quite nominal. It's around $50 a person for a full day pass for all attractions, including. There are 100 plus attractions, including roller coasters, a Panda World, Lost Valley, Safari World, and different kind of experiences. If somebody wants to do water sports and water experiences, then there is a Caribbean Bay, which you can also pay extra and get included in your full day entrance. So Everland is a must visit for people who want to have a theme park experience in South Korea. Perhaps the most important place of historical importance in South Korea in recent memory is the DMZ, which is the North Korea South Korea border or the demilitarized zone. This is just 70 kilometers or 1 hour from Seoul, capital city. It is the closest that you can go to North Korea and see North Korea on the other side. As I mentioned in the beginning, North Korea is a closed country with no access, so going there is almost impossible. But you can go to the point where you can see the North Korean village on the other side and their flag and their leader statue. It's pretty fascinating. You can learn about the Korean War that happened in the 1950s. You can take the infiltration tunnel which was dug during the Korean War and go underground and go deep and all the way into the North Korea and touch North Korea in through the tunnel and come back. Of course, you cannot cross the border. You can go to the point where the border is and then come back, and then go to the observatory from where you can see the North Korean villages. So it's very, very fascinating. It's a half day experience. You can make it full day also, but a half day is a must. And last important attraction that we definitely recommend, especially if you're not going to Jeju Island, is then the Korean Folk Village. This is a must-visit experience in Gyeonggi, which is an hour's. This location is just an hour's drive from Seoul City. What you can do is you can give a full day entrance ticket to your customer. Uh, Inside the folk village, they can understand different kind of traditional houses from commoners to noblemen that used to live in Korea in different parts, different stages of their dynasties, the Korean life in the past, enjoy Korean local food, take part in some activities. There are quite a few activities that you can do. You can do a boat riding, you can do traditional dyeing experience, wooden craft experience, a pottery workshop. So, especially for groups or mice groups or student groups or cultural groups, this kind of folk village is a very good way to spend an entire day and get them busy to learn and do new things. That brings us to the end of the main destinations. Now we'll have a look at what are the popular other places in the country that you can visit and add to make your itinerary more interesting. The first place that we want to show you is Gangwon. If you see the map, this is the northeast part of South Korea and is the most mountainous region of South Korea. This is where we had the 2018 Winter Olympics. There are about 17 resorts in this area where you can do skis and snow sports. Quite a few of them are just 2 hours drive from Seoul, and you can do a full day excursion with ski or snow experience and come back to Seoul City, or you can do a 1 night stay or 2 night stay depending upon your customer's inquiry. You can learn snow sports or snow skiing here. English language translator interpreters are also available for somebody who wants to learn or book a private trainer for their family or for their group. That is also possible. If you go during the summertime, then you can enjoy the summer train, the sea train. You can enjoy the ocean rail bike, which is a course which is on the coast, on the edge of the country, with ocean on one side and the country on the other side. It's very fascinating, a great experience for MICE groups. Or you can also indulge in some water sport activities. The next location is Chuncheon Namdo. This is in the middle of the country. and this is mainly popular for a very famous festival, international festival that happens every year, the Boryong Mud Festival. This is basically the Korean version of La Tomatina in Spain, but instead of tomatoes, we use mud, and this happens in the coastal area. And this mud is basically herbal in nature and is very good for your skin. It's a long festival with partying and clubbing and music and dance and drinks and everything. So if your clients are looking for some adventure or some this kind of experience every year in July, uh, this is something that you can recommend to your customers. Gyeongsang-bukdo is the historical capital of South Korea. Seoul is the current capital, but historically, this region had a few of the capitals in the past, and this is where most of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites of South Korea are located, and most of the historical excavations also happen in this region. The most popular World Heritage Site in this location is the Sekuram Grotto and Bulguksa Temple. These are Buddhist sites. The Bulguksa Temple is the most beautiful Buddhist temple in East Asia, and Sekuram Grotto is one of the largest Buddha temple statues in South Korea inside a cave. Apart from that, this place is a treasure trove of cultural activities and cultural historical importance, from observatory, which is around 3,000 years old, to National Museum housing all the artifacts excavated in this area, to palaces and royal tombs. Everything you can see in this one location. And lastly, we look at Jeollabuk-do. This is the southernmost part of South Korea. It is a very, very uh, uh, what you say, it is not very frequented with foreign tourists, but it has few of the most important attractions which are of cultural importance. The first one is Jeonju, which is a historical city with 700 old traditional Korean houses standing close together. This is more than 600 years old. It's preserved in its way that you can go, stay, live, and experience the cultural village, the Hanok village. It is definitely a must visit for somebody who wants to go deep into the Korean society and understand Korean culture. So that brings us to a basic understanding of the destination, which will help you plan and see South Korea in a way that you can make itineraries or tour products. Uh, Next, what I want to showcase is we want to tell you about some of the important links and resources that we have compiled together for your knowledge. Uh, First of all, you will be getting a copy of this presentation after this webinar. So all this you can download and you can collect at your desktop or your computer once you receive this presentation. What we have tried to do is collect a lot of information and put it in one place, starting with our basic websites. There are different websites that we have for different purpose. Of course, our main website has all basic information of South Korea, our updates, and our uh, not important information of travel. But we also have a dedicated website for MICE, where you have all information for MICE travel and venues and hotels and activities and experiences that you can do in Korea. Then we have a dedicated website for FIT travel. Visit koreaforme.com, where you can get all information and updates for FIT travel and what are the latest tour products that have been designed and developed. A lot of you contact us, asking for South Korea photographs that you can use for your itineraries, for your websites. So we have an official website. We have an official photo gallery website. You can click the link and access the website, and you can see all. You can search and see all the photos that are available there. And whatever photos that you want to download, you can just uh, note down their photograph number and just send it to us. uh, we will download the high resolution files and send it to you. So that way you can get whatever photographs and visuals that you want for South Korea, you can get from one point. We have recently started a LinkedIn page where you get all the regular updates for South Korea as a tourist destination from travel agents' point of view. You can follow our link and also follow our Facebook and Instagram for the general travel updates on South Korea. There are a couple of presentations that we have compiled together. The presentation that you saw just now was not the complete one, it was a summarized one. But if you want to get a full destination presentation of South Korea, you can download that if you want. And then we also have a presentation for Seoul, for Gyeonggi, and the Jeju Island. And then we also have the Indian restaurant guidebook and the DMC list, everything compiled together at one place as a resource bank for you to develop South Korea tour products. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. Uh, Going forward, we want to introduce you to the Korea Premium Travel Consultant Challenge. Uh, as I said in the beginning, what we want a two-way process with our participants, because it is something that we are trying to do in a way that you all become South Korea travel experts. Uh, what we want from your side as participants for the next stage is to make your own South Korea tour product. Now you can develop anything and everything that of yours that you want, and it is only this proposal is only applicable for only the set of you that you are attending today. So whoever is attending today is eligible to take part in this program, and you can make your own South Korea to a travel product and send it to us on email, kptc.contest@gmail.com. We've made this email ID so that you can compile all your requests together at one place. What there are some basics that we want from the itinerary. The itinerary has to be minimum 7 days. It can be longer, but it has to be a minimum 7 nights program. It can be of any theme of your choice. It can be FIT, it can be honeymoon, MICE, GIT, special interest, etc. You can prepare the itinerary in a Word format or a PDF or a presentation format. Of course, you have to cover all the basic aspects of travel like flight, routing, transportation method, hotel name, tour attractions, unique experiences, etc. And we would like you to send it to us by the 20th of this month, 20th August 2021. After that, we will take some time to evaluate all your response, and basis on your creativity, your presentation skill, and the feasibility of the itinerary, we will try to select the best entries, and whoever has put their effort and tried to give us a good South Korea itinerary, we will award them and induct them into the Korea Premium Travel Consultant Program. If you're selected, if you put in the effort and you give us a good program, then you will be part of the Korea Premium Travel Consultant series. As a part of the series, you will get first of all, you will get a accreditation certificate from our side for this year and next. You will also receive a welcome gift box from our side. So make sure that whenever you send us the presentation, you put in your detailed communication address and your contact number in the end, so that if you are selected, then we can send you the package. You will become eligible for our next round of KPTC discussions. We will have several quiz games, presentations for different themes from next month onward for the remaining part of this year. And we will, of course, create we'll create a WhatsApp group only exclusively for the KPTC members, and we can discuss and you can share ideas, and we can discuss South Korea travel in that group. Whenever travel restarts in the future, based on your active participation and your engagement, you will get priority when we do our fam trips for travel agencies. And whenever we have some gatherings in your cities, then we will definitely give you priority invite before inviting anybody else. Apart from that, we'll keep on doing activities where we will have on, based on your active participation, we'll have prizes and incentives. That brings me to the end of this presentation that we had for you today. My contact numbers are present here. After this presentation is finished, you all will receive an auto-generated email with complete information on this contest, our contact numbers, and a link to download this presentation. And from there, we take it forward for the next series. I'm available for questions. There's quite a few questions that have come up in the chat box. If somebody has questions, you can please put it forward. In the meanwhile, let me just go through the question section and see some of the questions that we can answer. There's a question by Craig De Rosario is asking which cities are best for business travel. So Seoul is the capital city and is the main point of arrival. So, and it also has a lot of international expos and events. So it automatically becomes one of the best places for business travel. But as I said, the main industries are located in Busan and near Busan. So if you're talking about business, if you're talking about industries, if you're talking about import, export, or this kind of stuff, then you definitely have to consider Busan as a location that you would recommend to your customer. So there are questions on forward the itinerary to. So if you see the slide, so you have to send your itinerary in the email itinerary mentioned here, which is kptc.contest@gmail.com. Do not worry, you will all receive an email just after this event where you will also have this email ID mentioned, and all instructions will be mentioned here. And we will go take it forward from there. There are questions on Mr. Sudhir Tuli is asking about opening up of South Korea for Indian clients and what vaccines are allowed. So, if everything goes well and we do not experience a third wave, and uh, we can hope for travel to restart this year, and all WHO vaccines will be allowed. AstraZeneca vaccine, Covishield, that has been manufactured in India, is in the process of getting approval. Once it is approved, you will all get to know about it through our emailers that you get monthly. And other vaccines, as and when they're allowed, will be informed to you as well. Russell is asking about formalities to enter the DMZ zone. So there are no formalities, but the tourist or the traveler must carry their passport. So only with your passport you can enter, and the tour has to be pre-booked through your DMC because the passport details have to be sent in advance. And at the checkpoint, there's somebody who will come into the bus and check the passport and verify the information. Otherwise, there is no formality required. There's a question by Chandrasekharan asking which is the best city for honeymoon. Of course, Jeju Island is the best city that in South Korea that you can do for honeymoon because of its natural beauty, exotic island, and resort hotel experiences available. But we always recommend that you combine at least 2 to 3 nights in Seoul City because honeymoon is incomplete if you do not have shopping with it. The shopping options are there in Jeju, but the best shopping you can only do in Seoul City. Okay, so we have a lot of questions. Ajay, how much time do we have, and do you want to point out to any particular question?
We have another 15-20 minutes, so please go ahead.
Okay, just a moment.
So one is what is the best mode of travel from Seoul to Busan, and how long does it take?
Okay, Seoul to Busan, the best way to travel, the fastest way to travel is of course flight, and there are Pre-COVID, there were flight every 5 minutes, and the flights were very cheap, around $50 to $60 per person per way. But personally, I would always recommend taking the bullet train, which is the KTX. It takes around 2.5 hours with five scheduled stops. You experience a high-speed train traveling at 300 kilometers per hour with 4G free internet, so you remain connected and do your FaceTime and WhatsApp calls or whatever, and enjoy the sights outside. And it's not expensive; it's around $40 to $50 per person, depending on which class of travel you are selecting for booking. And there's a train every 15 minutes, so it doesn't matter what time you want to travel; you will always have a train waiting for you.
The other question is, Sandeep, are Indian vaccines currently recognized in South
So
Korea?
currently, the Indian vaccines are in the process of getting recognized. As I said, Covishield is only a matter of time that Covishield will be approved. Covaxin, we have to wait till it gets the WHO approval. Once the WHO approval is done, I'm sure Covaxin will also be approved. But Covishield will be approved before the travel between the two countries restart.
Another one is, what are the formalities to enter the DMZ zone?
So this I've already answered. This is basically no formalities. The tourist just needs to carry their passport, and the tour has to be booked in advance through a DMC, because the the information has to be sent earlier.
So
Uh,
I don't think, is there, I'm not sure if there's anything else, Sandeep.
so there's a question about vegetarian food, or what about Indian restaurants or veg food. So
Yeah.
as I mentioned, there are 100 plus Indian friendly restaurants. When I say Indian friendly, I mean the restaurant is either serving completely Indian food, or it is serving vegetarian food, or it is serving international or Korean food without pork or beef in it, or it is halal certified. So those restaurants combined are 100 plus in number. If you are exclusively looking for vegetarian, then yes, vegan food and vegetarian food is available. Indian food is available all across the country. There are many restaurants where you can get Indian vegetarian and non-vegetarian food.
Okay, so also there's another question about, would you be able to share some pre-COVID numbers of travelers,
So,
FIT and MICE from India?
Pre-COVID, 2019, we had around 150,000, 150,000 tourist travelers from India. Majority of travel from India, around 70% is business travel, but the remaining 30% is mostly uh, FIT, VFR, and little bit of and MICE. So even if we don't have the exact number, but around 20 to 30,000 people do travel from India for non-business purpose.
Okay. What about self-drive option in South Korea, Sandeep? And is the Indian driving license accepted?
Okay, self-driving options are available all over the country, but we particularly recommend Jeju Island for self-drive travel. Firstly, because the infrastructure is very well developed for self-drive, uh, but you need to have an international driving license. Not Indian license will not be valid. And Jeju Island offers you a lot of electric vehicle options also. So, it's an interesting way to self-drive and also experience electric vehicles.
In fact, there's a lot of questions right now on Jeju Island. The
Mhm.
on-arrival visa at Jeju, for how many days is it valid? That's one. Can Indians fly to Jeju Island directly without any South Korean visa? That's two. And how do you travel from the mainland to Jeju
Okay,
Island?
so I'll take all the three together. So
Yeah.
Jeju Island, pre-COVID information, the visa on visa free. You can stay up to 30 days for tourism purpose. So if you're coming to Jeju Island directly without touching the mainland, then you can get the visa free arrival. You can avail that. The only way that you can do was you can either flight via Hong Kong through a Cathay Pacific flight, or via Japan. Uh, we will wait to see what is the update for post-pandemic, post-COVID programs. But I'm sure the visa waiver program for Jeju Island will be will be applicable in the future as well, though we don't have a confirmation of that currently. Travel between mainland South Korea and Jeju Island can be done mainly by flights. There are multiple flights per day from Seoul and Busan. Multiple in the sense that there are flights again pre-COVID, there were flight every 5 minutes between Seoul, Busan, and Jeju Island. But if somebody is looking for other modes, then there are ferry options also available from Busan. So the ferry takes really long. It's around a 4 hour to 6 hour journey, but the flight is only 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay. Thanks, Sandeep. I think one of the last ones is, what does the DO mean after each name of the city?
So, Do basically this Jeju Do or Gangwon Do. Gangwon Do represents the province. Is basically equivalent to a state. So if the name of the city does not, if the name does not have a Do, then it is like a city. But if I'm referring to Gyeonggi Do, so Do is basically the province. Province is basically the state or the region. It's not the city.
I think, Sandeep, I think that was it. I'm not sure whether
There
you
is
had
a interesting question by Priyanka regarding the visa entrance fee waiver at the monuments if one wears the hanok. Now, how can we rent a hanok, and what cost to buy? So yes, this is a very valid question. So wherever there is a visa entrance fee waiver for wearing Korean traditional hanok to enter, you will have rental shops outside where you can rent the hanok. The hanok rental cost is almost similar to the entrance ticket. So basically, if the entrance to the national monument is around $5 to $7 or $10, the hanok rental will be also similarly priced. So basically, uh, you pay the same amount as the entrance ticket, but your experience increases because you get to wear the hanok and the costume and then go inside. Of course, if you want to customize the hanok and make it more, fancy by putting headgear and accessories, then your rental charges will increase. But the basic rental is around $10 to $15 only.
Are there any travel restrictions to tourist places during COVID? And what are the requirements for Indians?
So, as I said, currently South Korea opened its borders officially for international tourism. So, but they're announcing countries one by one. India is not announced yet, but whichever country is allowed. So, if you've got fully vaccinated, then you can enter the country without and travel without any quarantine, and there are no restrictions to travel anywhere. So of course, if there is mask wearing is a mandate, so people have to wear masks. And in case there is some ongoing advisory during that time of a gathering of not beyond a certain person, or a gathering of less than certain person, then that will be applicable at that place during that time. But in general, all over the country, there is no there is no this thing restriction for travel.
We have a couple of people from Bangladesh who've joined us from the
Okay.
travel agency here. He says, "Dear sir, do you have any office in Bangladesh?"
No, but my office, our office is actually the point of contact for Bangladesh also. So I will just uh, put in my contact here again. So anybody who is joining in for Bangladesh, they can contact us, and our office is responsible for Bangladesh market. And in fact, we were supposed to, pre-COVID, Bangladesh one of our focus markets. Of course, when situation gets better, we will definitely be focusing in Bangladesh and coming there and doing some events there also. But right now, if you want any information, I will be your first point of contact for any inquiry from Bangladesh also.
There's another question immediately after that. Says, "Is it possible to do a cycle tour in Korea?"
Yes, there is one. In fact, there is a bicycle tour program available in Jeju Island. If somebody is interested in that, please note my email and send me an email. We have a very good content available that I can share with you. It's a beautiful program, and it is something that your tourists will definitely enjoy. You can rent a bicycle and travel the entire island and stop at different places and make overnight stays. Your luggage will come automatically. Your group does not have to wait for the luggage. Stuff like that you can do.
So there's a transit question here for PAX transiting through Incheon bound for US. Is a stopover permitted without a visa whenever you reopen?
Yes. So again, this information has to be verified for post COVID travel. But yes, there is a transit facility available if somebody is going onward, has a connecting flight or a onward journey to USA, Canada, or South or North America in general, or even Australia. Then you can stay up to 72 hours in Korea without a visa.
Uh, there's just a comment here, Sir Sandeep wanted to understand visa process, obviously for Indians.
Okay, visa process. I mentioned that part out of the presentation because again, we would want to have official word on that post when travel restart. But visa in general, it's a paper visa. You have to apply through embassy or the VFS. There, you can apply in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, or Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, or Kolkata, and it takes about 5 working days. The documentation is quite simple. It's only the income tax return or 6 month bank statement and the form. Of course, going forward, we will have to see what all documentations are added.
So Vinod Nair says, I am already a certified agent. Do I need to complete the process again?
Uh, uh, in case you have completed some specialization courses that we had online in the past, those were different. This is completely different. We would appreciate if you can participate again. Your The earlier certifications were basically destination training certifications, but this is a premium travel consultant program. This is a different program. This certification has higher value, and it will help you become a true to that destination expert. Is beyond than what we have offered before.
Super. So I have a repeat question, which I'm not taking on the visa on arrival in Jeju, but moving on to the next question. Can Indian citizens take the ferry route to enter Korea from Japan? This is, of course, once
Yes.
travel resumes.
Yes. The closest is basically Fukuoka. The southernmost point of Japan is just a 30-minute to 1 hour boat ride from Busan. So that is how close the two countries are. And if you are an enthusiast, if you've got a really enthusiast customer, you can take that route. It's a fantastic way to travel between the two countries. There are overnight ferry or ships available from Osaka to Busan also. Of course, you need to have a visa prior to your arrival, but yes, Indian tourists can do that, no problem.
And staying with Japan, there's a related question: is the cherry blossom tour available in Korea as it is in Japan during this period?
Yes, absolutely. So, cherry blossom in Korea is almost at par with Japan, but I would agree Japan cherry blossom is more popular. We are trying to promote cherry blossom in Korea also, and we need your support to do that. Cherry blossom in Korea happens almost at the same time in Japan, but it is after Japan mostly. Japan, the cherry blossom peaks in March. In Korea, the cherry blossom would peak in April.
Okay. Also, there's just a question here saying, is there any special permissions required for any specific destination?
No, there is no specific permission required. Only if you are going to a restricted area, which is the DMZ, then prior booking is necessary. Otherwise, there are no places in Korea where you need special permits.
So Tanvi says, thank you for a lovely presentation. What range of hotels would cater best to Jain groups, and which cities will be best to explore, keeping in mind the Jain meal requests?
Okay, so we have helped many travel companies organize Jan groups in the past. We have also had big Jan groups of 150 people also travel in the past, and they travel the entire country with their own chef. and they got the access of the restaurants, to hotel kitchens. That is one way of doing it. For Jan Group or any travel in general, we always recommend at least a four-star hotel and above, because in three-star hotel the the breakfast can become very basic and very Asian in nature, and we Indian travelers always love a very full and very continental and very good spread of breakfast. Any four-star and above, the breakfast becomes very international in nature, and that satisfies the Indian customer. So you will get less complaints. So four-star and above, no problem. If you want to do a Jan group, then you can always prefer using the brand chain hotels by Marriott or Hyatt or Accor, because they are more accustomed to handle the Jan groups rather than using a local chain in Korea. And of course, whenever you have the query, we will help you in every step planning the process.
So I have a repeat question on the visas, which I'm not going to take. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Is self-drive permitted for Indians in Jeju Island? And also, I've read about the slow road navigation app. It seems quite interesting. So should I suggest this to our clients?
Yes, absolutely. If can I know of the name of the person who is
His name
that?
is Anand Subramaniam.
Anand, excellent question, and I am pleased to know that you know about the slow road. Basically, of course, this program is available for Indian tourists. The slow road is basically, whenever we do put GPS on our phones, it always shows you the best and the fastest route, right? This slow road is basically, if you navigate through that particular application, it will take you through the most scenic and the most beautiful road and the longest route. So that is where you can stop anywhere and enjoy less traffic and also take a lot of photographs. So that kind of program is definitely available. Jeju Island is a perfect place for self-drive holidays, because uh, you can first of all, you can choose from a Tesla to a BMW i3 to any kind of a electric car you want for your self-drive. The navigation is completely in English, so there is no problem with that. And the slow road are excellent way to explore the entire island without coming in contact with any traffic or any traffic red light or anything.
Great. So I have a question here, Sandeep. It's not very clear. It just says how much does it cost for an overall package? It's from
Okay, so
Neeman Ahmad.
it's a very valid question. So
Yeah.
uh, I understand this is from leisure travel point of view. Uh, Again, pre-COVID, the package, any package for South Korea, the land cost will cost you around $60,000 to $70,000, 70,000 rupee per person for a 4 night basic package, 3 to 4 night basic package. If you add flight and visa into that, it always crosses 1 lakh. So your benchmark for South Korea is always a minimum 1 lakh for a decent 4 to 5 night package. Uh, Post pandemic, in the coming times, I'm sure the land cost will be much reduced, because everybody will be looking for good business. So the land package part can be negotiated and brought down to some extent. Flights, we have to see and wait what kind of flight rates the flights come up with.
So Vilas asks any link or book that you suggest to understand the country better?
Any
Link or book?
uh, if you want to know about South Korea travel in general, then you can always refer to the Lonely Planet guide. But to understand Korea better, uh, there's no particular book that comes into my mind. But if you are somebody who watches who has Netflix or something, that you can definitely try watching the Korean dramas, which are extremely popular these days, and they showcase the Korean culture, the Korean customs, and the Korean sites, and the Korean fashion and the music quite beautifully, and helps you understand the country better.
Okay, so here's a question which I'm not sure that anybody has an answer to. When is South Korea going to open for Indian tourists?
So as I said, South Korea opened itself in general for international tourists just the last month. They are they're keeping it they're taking it slow, so they are coming up announcing countries one by one. If you There is no official update, but if you ask me personally, I expect travel to begin by the end of this year. Let's hope that is true. But otherwise, for us, we are focusing on March, April 2022 for genuine tourism to start between the two countries.
So is Korean cuisine predominantly fish or meat?
Korean cuisine is predominantly meat, which is in the landlocked areas, and primarily fish in the coastal areas. The most common is fish and pork meat, but there is a huge demand for vegetarian food these days. Vegan is a growing trend in South Korea, and the Buddhist cuisine is a lot of it is vegetarian in nature, but predominantly it's fish and pork.
So I'm skipping on another couple of questions on the visa process since we've touched there. But Yogesh is asking whether it's possible to arrange backpacker tours in South Korea.
Yes, in fact, if you, Yogesh, you could contact me on my email ID. I can send you details on links of backpacker hotels and backpacker kind of accommodations that have been recognized by Korea Tourism, which are recommended for backpacker holidays. And I can help you plan and create backpacker trips, which you can develop and then further sell to your customers.
Okay, we have a specific visa question here. Where should we submit passports for visa for clients from Kerala?
Kerala will go to Chennai.
And of course, we have two more vegetarian questions. What about Indian restaurants or veg food? And are there regular vegetarian groups that visit South Korea?
So I will be very honest. We don't have regular vegetarian groups that are visiting, but vegetarian groups are always ad hoc. And but the DMCs, the suppliers in South Korea, now understands India very well, and they understand the kind of vegetarian and the kind of food requirement they have. We have. They understand we have 10 different kind of vegetarian, starting from the hardcore pure vegetarian to a vegetarian on a particular day to a vegetarian at a particular hour, and so they understand Indian requirement very well, and they're able to customize the program based on your customer's inquiry. That's not a problem. And there's a lot of vegetarian restaurants all over the country. All vegetarian restaurants are not always Indian restaurants. There are other restaurants which can serve vegetarian food also, but Indian restaurants will always have vegetarian option. That is there for sure.
The next one is when will they start to issue specifically a business visa?
Again, officially, I'm waiting for that. Currently, only government officials are and high-level government delegations are being given visas to travel to South Korea. But business visas and tourist visa will start together, and hopefully before the end of this year. But it's not something that is official right now.
So it's they would both start together at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, because tourist visa, business visa comes under almost the same category of visa category for the embassy.
So King Suk Bose has a question. He says, will it be wise to travel in within major cities by bullet train, like China, to minimize the flight expenditure?
Of course, absolutely. First of all, Korea being a very small country, just roughly the size of Madhya Pradesh, your travel automatically reduces when you compare it to China or even Japan for that matter. Uh, you can do all if you have a group, then you can do a all surface tour by a coach, which takes you all to different parts and drops you back. That will be the cheapest way if you want to do a group tour. But if you do a FID tour, then using public transport or using bullet train is a very effective way of traveling between two cities in a cost economical fashion.
So the other question is, ideally, is 10 days to 2 weeks a good time for leisure travelers to cover South Korea? And are we supposed to be in quarantine once we arrive, even after being fully vaccinated?
So fully vaccinated tourists will not be required to quarantine in Korea. So whenever India is announced uh, to be open for travel for South Korea, this the same rule will apply. And 10 days to 2 weeks is more than enough. Even 7 days is actually good enough to take a round of the entire country. But 10 to 14 days, you can see cities, destination, and locations in more detail and have an in-depth knowledge of the country. I would love to help you plan an itinerary for 2 weeks.
Uh, the other question, which is kind of related, are to tourist places wheelchair friendly and for traveling around?
Yes, almost all places in South Korea are wheelchair friendly. Even all the trekking routes have wooden infrastructure placed so that people can carry wheelchairs and take you know, their their loved ones around. So that is not a problem. Hotels are wheelchair friendly, and most of the, if not all, but most of the tourist attractions that I know are all wheelchair friendly.
I have two or three requests here, Sandeep, all of them asking to suggest some trusted DMC in Korea.
So the this presentation that you will receive will have this link. The last link is that list of South Korea DMCs. They're all trusted by us as as KTO. We have worked with them in the past, and you are free to choose any one of them. There are 12 or 14 mentioned there, and try to contact them and take your business forward.
So is Korea a left-hand drive country?
Yes, left-hand drive country.
So which state has Korean cinema headquarters, and do they have a tour of uh, the place?
Yes. So I'm guessing the person asking this question is coming from the background of K-pop and Korean dramas and Korean
Yes,
music.
yes.
Yes, it's extremely popular. Seoul, Busan are the two cities which are extremely popular for Korean drama and shooting experiences, shooting sites. And famous Korean dramas, their locations are all part of different kind of itineraries or tours where people go and visit and take photos at the exact same spot where their favorite celebrities shot that particular scene. So it's extremely popular. Seoul, Busan are the main cities, obviously, but as we all understand, exotic locations are not always inside the city; they're always located elsewhere. So those locations are all part of K-pop tours, K-drama tours, no problem.
So that's exactly. So we have another question on K-pop as well. Is it possible to organize K-pop concert tours?
So, if there is a major K-pop concert happening, which is a private event, and you get the tickets, and then you can plan a group or a package accordingly, which is like any other country. But if you want to give all your tourists an example of a K-pop experience, then in Seoul city there are virtual, sorry, not virtual, which is a wrong word. It's like a K-pop hologram K-pop experience, concert experience. So basically, you go to a concert hall where the favorite K-pop celebrities will be performing, but on a stage. But that will be that will be 3D representations or holograms of those celebrities. It actually looks like a real person performing. So it's very fascinating. So those hologram K-pop concerts are available in Seoul City.
What are the major adventure activities in Korea?
Uh, See, going to if you go to a theme park, then like every other theme park, you'll get the roller coasters and all the water sports and all the activities. If you go to Jeju Island, which is the main place for adventure activities, you have ATV bike riding, then you have horse riding, then you have all the water sports like and paragliding, parajumping. There are some zip lining courses at different locations in Jeju Island in mainland also. All the basic adventure sports are all available.
And also for trekking, there's someone who's asking whether there's good options for trekking,
Yes,
and where are those?
uh, so first there is one trekking route which is the entire border of South Korea. The country is a trekking route actually. So what they, because Korea is a trekking fanatic, trekking addict country, people love to do trekking there. So they have developed the entire coast of the country has been connected by a trekking route. So you can start from wherever, you can finish wherever. So that trekking route is always there. But if you go to Jeju Island, that island has many trekking routes that are available. So they are 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, full day, multiple days trekking routes are available. You can hike up to the top of a volcano, which is around 3,000 feet high, and then come back also on the same day on a trekking route.
So another fundamental question here: do the locals in Korea speak manageable I- English?
So the young generation, anybody who is 30 or years or below, will be speaking good conversable English, no problem at all. The hospitality and the tourism industry prefer people like the driver or the guide or the hotel staff or the airport staff. They will all speak English. The middle aged or the senior population in the country might not be. They will not be uh, uh, you know fluent in English, and especially if outside the main city, they will not be speaking English. But all signages, all road signs in South Korea are dual languages. So now, no matter, and the entire country is free Wi-Fi. So wherever you are, you will always have free Wi-Fi at your disposal. So you can turn on the translate or turn on the GPS on your phone, and all signages that you see on the roads are all dual languages. So you will never be lost.
Free Wi-Fi would be a major USP today, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Because
the entire so and Korea is already 5G. So
okay,
we're talking about 5G, not even 4G there.
perfect. So someone else, someone called Praveen Gola is asking whether Korea is a safe tourist place for kids below 5.
Of course, if the kid is below 5, I'm guessing the kid will not be traveling alone. But yes, South Korea is a very, very safe country in general. From there are the entire country stays open till late in the night. Petty theft, pickpocketing, those kind of concepts don't exist in the country. So if you leave your mobile phone on a platform in the metro station or at the roadside or the bus stand, nobody is going to pick that up. That is how safe the country is. In fact, the police does not carry guns. That is how safe the country is.
Uh, Also, which cities are suitable for architecture tours?
When you say architecture, I'm guessing you mean modern infrastructure. In that case, Seoul and Busan are the skyscraper cities with all the modern shapes and designs and all of that. But if you're looking at traditional, cultural, and heritage architecture or something like that, then again, Seoul, Busan will give you the palaces and all that. But if you then you have to go more interior, like Jeonju, the Hanok village, and all of that, where you can see traditional architecture.
Okay, so in international cruise companies like Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, etc., used to operate to South Korea pre-COVID. Since
Mhm.
cruise operations have restarted now, are packs from USA and Europe, etc., permitted to enter South Korea now?
I will have to check this information, but I know that cruises have port of call in Jeju and Busan. There are two places in South Korea where cruises have a stop. But this information, if I would request, if you can send me an email, I will verify and get back to you. Don't want to give you wrong information.
What season is supposed to be the peak season to visit South Korea?
Cherry blossom in April is high season, and technically the December end, the snow season is also a high season, but uh, that is not when a lot of Indian people travel. But cherry blossom is definitely when there will be surcharge in April, but otherwise it's all throughout same price, no season.
Okay, so I think that is it, Sandeep. I think we've taken more than
Yes,
40 minutes of questions.
yes, lot of questions.
So, and I also think that if there is anything left, we could possibly answer them one on one with all the others
Yes,
that may be there.
our participants have our email IDs. They're free to write to us.
Yep. So I'm just going to say that thank you to everyone for joining us today. Thanks, Sandeep, for a great presentation. Thank you, everyone, for patiently listening to all of this, and congratulations, since you have completed the first step to become a Korea Premium Travel Consultant. We hope you've enjoyed today's webinar and excited to participate in the KPTC selection. Make your own Korea Tour Product Itinerary Challenge, which is the next step. Shortly after this webinar, you will receive an email from us asking you to participate in the aforementioned itinerary challenge, which is a mandatory step to become a Korea premium travel consultant. Please make sure to send your responses on kptc.contest@gmail.com. Latest, as Sandeep said, by or before 20th August 2021. Thank you very much. Thanks, Sandeep.
Thank you. Thank you.